Just a quick video today. I've ordered a new accessory for my bike, which is a 2021 Street Triple R. I've ordered the seat cowl. Now, I've seen this discussed on a few of the Facebook groups recently, but only the RS comes with the seat cowl as standard. On the R and the S, it's an additional accessory. You are offered it at the point of purchase, or you can buy it as an aftermarket accessory, official accessory direct from Triumph. Now, in this video I'm going to show you how to assemble it, because it doesn't come in one piece as you see here, as you may expect. Now, the assembly isn't difficult. It comes separately as a mounting bracket, 2 bits of rubber, 5 screws, and the rubber seat stop on the top. Now, the reason I think it probably comes in parts to assemble is because when you're offered it, when you buy the bike, Triumph charge you an install time of 12 minutes, which sounds a lot for swapping a seat over, but if it actually comes in bits and needs screwing together, that might be why they're charging you for it, or the reason for charging you for it anyway. You only need a few things to put it together. I suggest a set of modelling tweezers, just to pull the protective tape off the sticky pads that mount the rubber stay on. And you need a Torx bit, a T20 Torx bit for the screws, because they couldn't give you a Phillips or a posi head and make it easy for tools that everybody's got. Luckily I've got a few Torx bits lying around, but not everybody has. So, before we get into it, some people have been asking where they can get it from. If you're in the UK, Fowler's carry a full set of Triumph parts, or you should be able to go to Triumph directly. If you give them your reg plate, they should be able to tell you what parts are correct for the bike. But if you've got a 2020 or 2021 matte silver ice, the part number is A9708826-MT. Now, if you've got other colours, like the black, or I think the 2022 colours are a little bit different, then it's probably just the last 2 letters on the end that changed, denoting the colour. But you want to clarify you're getting the right colour before you order it. This has been opened already, but just want you to see what I was confronted with. So we've got plenty of packaging. Here's our seat cowl, all nicely wrapped up, and the rubber pad, as well as the mounting plate. Now, I've no idea why Triumph send it in bits like this for you to assemble yourself. Maybe it's so that they can charge you for assembly if you buy it as an accessory with the bike. But there's not many plastics or accessories I've ordered in the past for bikes that you've had to completely assemble. Maybe a bit of bracketry and stuff, but actually having to glue the rubber onto the plastic, surely that should be done in the factory before it's sent out. So, taped to the polystyrene, we have a small plastic bag with 5 screws to screw the mounting plate to the seat cowl. We have 2 rubber strips to stop it vibrating against the tail, I suppose, and some paperwork. Is this instructions, or is this just warnings? No instructions whatsoever, although it's pretty straightforward. 5 screws to screw the mounting plate here. 5 screws to screw that mounting plate onto that tailpiece. And the rubber needs to be glued onto the front there. And the only other thing then is where these rubber bits go. That's quite straightforward as well. There's 2 rails in there of similar length to the rubbers strips, so they probably go on there. They're not that tight. I might double check that. Right, I'm just going to give the plastics a wipe with a lens cloth before I stick the sticker on there. I don't want to put any chemicals whatsoever on the painted plastic, but just get any grease from people handling it off before we stick it down. Well, that's a good start. The 3M double-sided sticky tape has come off the rubber rather than peeling the protective film off the tape. That doesn't stick. Right, so I've peeled the films off the best way without pulling the tape off the back of the rubber, because the tape sticks to the film better than it does to the rubber. Just get a pair of very sharp tweezers, lift an edge, and like with any film then, pull it straight back across the surface 180 degrees. Like that. So now we've got it off, it's just a case of setting it into the front. There's 2 rubber nodules there to slide into the slots, as well as being profiled all the way around the edge, so you can't really get it wrong. Get the nodules in, press firmly down, and just give it a bit of pressure for a few minutes. Right, I've allowed the rubber pad to glue to the seat cowl, so the next step is to screw the mounting plate onto the cowl with the 5 screws that come with it. So use the foam packaging that it came with, polystyrene packaging, to protect the paintwork on the cowl, and using a T20 Torx bit, screw the plastic screws in. Now, these aren't going to need a lot of torque to do them up. Probably something like 5 or 6 Newton meters. Essentially finger tight. They are only screwing into little plastic nut lugs. If you over tighten them, you will snap the lugs off. An actual screwdriver might be nicer than this little mountain bike tool kit bar I've got for holding it straight, because these screws appear to have to cut themselves in. Yeah, those holes aren't threaded. It's quite a coarse thread on the screw. The camera will pick that up. Come on. There we go. Quite a coarse thread, has to cut itself in. So you want to make sure that you are getting it at 90 degrees when it starts cutting in, like that. as with tightening anything up with multiple fixings, get them all in loose. Once you've got them all in and you know all the holes are lined up, then you can tighten all the screws. This might look awkward because of the horrible little tool I'm using to do these up, because all my main tools are up in the garage, but I'm not putting a lot of force on these screws at all. Right, as for these little rubber pieces, I am fairly sure they do sit on these rails here. They're lifted at the edge, the pieces sit in there nicely, although not quite tight, so I might put a little bit of blue tack or something behind them to make sure that they stay on, and they're probably there so you don't get any vibration against the tail itself and rub any paint off on the tail. Not that it would matter too much because it's under the cowl anyway. So they sit like that. I'm fairly certain of that because on the parts finder online I found this exploded drawing. Now I don't know how clear you can see that, but it does show an exploded view of the order of assembly. So you've got the cowl, you've got the mounting bracket in the position it's meant to sit in, you've got the 5 screws lined up where they're meant to go straight through, and you have those rubber pieces with a slot pointing upward, suggesting that they do sit in the rail underneath that cowl there. Right, one last thing. I do not like how loose these protective strips are on the edge there. So I'm going to fit some small bits of double-sided sticky tape that I got left over from fitting a fender extender on the rear last week. So I'm going to use a bit of that just to help it stay in place. Now the fender extender itself is another story. I was getting a lot of stones flung over the rear shock and actually getting caught between the spring and the shock body and causing damage to the body. I spotted it and luckily fitted the protector, the fender extender, before stone actually got stuck on the shock stanchion itself, on the moving part, and scratched it, because that would then damage the seals inside. So it's only the shock body that's got a little bit of damage on it. So I'm not going to go nuts with this. There's no need to put too much on, because it is going to be held in place while on the bike. It's only when you're taking the seat on and off. You want to just stop the strips falling off the cowl. So one piece either side should be enough. And here's what the seat cowl looks like on the bike. In conclusion, while I was a bit surprised that it came requiring assembly, and I do find that the painted plastic part is a little bit thin and flimsy, once it's on the bike, I think it makes the bike look a lot sleeker. The back end looks a lot sportier. It really does suit the lines of the bike. This is my first video, one of many hopefully. Not the most exciting topic to start with, but for those looking to add a seat cowl to the 765R or S, hopefully it'll be of some interest. Thanks for watching. If you're interested, follow the link provided to my channel for more bike related content.